You're listening to the Mark Bradford Alchemy for Life podcast.
Is it fate or is it destiny? Well, hey there. Welcome back. Quick update for you. According to Listen Notes, which is an RSS aggregator, which means in simple terms, it draws from a number of sources. Alchemy for Life podcast is in the top 5 globally among 2 million or so podcasts. So that was fun to learn. So thank you for that. That's because of you. So here's a nice light topic. Let's talk a little bit about free will. And it's an age-old debate whether we have free will or not, right? You've heard this before many times. Are you choosing what you do because you're choosing what you do, or are you choosing what you do because that's the way it's all plays out? And do you have no control over that? So for today's podcast, I want to presuppose that you don't have free will, or at least in a larger sense, right? And I want to break that down into 2 possibilities for you. If you don't have free will, if what's going to happen is going to happen, because that's just the way things are, a lot of people would say, well, then I just give up. But you don't. I mean, you move through life. It's sort of life flows through you and you flow through life, which is a whole nother philosophical discussion. But let me nail this down. If what's going to happen is going to happen, it really is one of 2 things, isn't it? You could say, oh, well, that's my fate. Or you could say, that's my destiny. Those are 2 words that mostly mean the same thing, but they also mean the opposite thing. Because if I say it's your fate, it kind of gives you that feeling like you're on a roof, a slanted roof, and you're falling off of it, and you keep falling, and you keep falling, and you keep sliding and sliding until you reach the edge, and then you fall off, right? There's nothing you can do about it. But if it's your destiny, you almost feel like you're on a trail. You're on a road leading to something. And the things along the way all have to do with where you're going. So in a nutshell, it's basically a negative spin or a positive spin, right? So which is it for you? You can reject everything I'm saying and say, well, I have free will. I have the ability to make a difference in my life. If I do something today, tomorrow is going to be different. If I do something else, tomorrow's going to be different. If I do something else, tomorrow's going to be different. It's not like no matter what I do today, tomorrow's going to be the same, right? I mean, you could say, well, look, I'm going to take some sort of bizarre, sporadic action. The problem is we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow until it happens. So we don't know if that was going to happen anyway. And you can say, Mark, you can get into this whole battle of free will versus non-free will, predestination and so forth, because we don't own a time machine. We can't do one thing, wait for tomorrow, go back in time, do another thing, wait for tomorrow, right? No, we can't. We don't have a time machine. As much as I've talked about time machines and going back in time and sending yourself messages and so forth in previous episodes, and check them out. Check out Notes from the Future and so forth. They're interesting episodes. But what I want you to consider today in this 10 minutes is if things in your life are set on a path, is it fate or is it destiny? If you're a creative heavily into a certain thing and you create this thing, is it your fate to create this certain thing or is it your destiny? And most people would say destiny, right? Because they consider creative stuff to be positive. I think people only label things fate if they're having a hard time or they're experiencing failure in some way. If you are having difficulty in dating, and most people are when it comes to the modern world of dating apps and current culture and all that stuff, you would say, well, it's my fate to be single, right? Not my destiny to be single. Oh boy, right? Or if you're someone who struggles with your wealth, you would say, well, I guess it's my fate to really not make a lot of money. I guess I should focus on other things and family and what's important and blah, 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 right? So I think our brain essentially takes the spin based on whether something is negative or positive. So you may be using both of these terms. You may say, look, it's just my destiny to be a good mom, and that's what I do. It's my fate to never really make a lot of money because I focus on being a good mom. It's my destiny to be with this woman that I love more than anything in the world. And it's my fate to, I don't care. I lost interest in the negative parts because I'm so happy about the other thing. That could be you too. We talked about labels a few episodes ago. And just how much power that has, right? In fact, we talked about how much power it has. It has so much power that we don't want to hand that power over to another person when it comes to us. No one should be labeling us. We should be labeling us if we want to, right? Well, then, based on that, you could do the same thing with fate or destiny, can't you? You can take something in your life that you consider to be your fate and perhaps relabel it as your destiny. And you can say, well, wait, how do I take being poor and turn that into my destiny? Well, because you look at the bigger picture. And maybe the reason that you don't have the wealth you want is because you focus on things that either currently don't really generate money or they just aren't cut out to generate money. And that's what you focus on, but that's where your joy is, right? Think of the starving artist and the painters and the overnight successes that took 12 years, right? Because that's what happens. If you focus on the thing you don't have and call it your fate, then you're not focusing on the thing you do have and you do like and you are good at and you do find joy with, and you're not calling that your destiny. So if you like to sculpt, why not say it's your destiny to sculpt and just forget about the whole it's my fate to be poor because I like sculpting and I'm never going to make any money at it. Speaking of free will, is tomorrow any different then? Well, it is in one way. You're a lot happier tomorrow. You look back on this stuff and you don't regret it. You don't regret the fact that you focused on the thing that brought you all the joy and didn't focus on the thing that potentially would bring you all the money. Because if you believe in free will, then you believe that you have the free will to focus on the happiness. If you don't believe in free will, then you know that tomorrow is going to come anyway, and the same thing's going to happen. So why not change your attitude and your label since you're stuck on the roof? And if you do believe in free will, then why not walk along this path with your head held high, making those happy changes? I'm sure while I'm talking about this, you can think of at least one small thing in your life that may be a fate or a destiny. Or maybe you're thinking right now about huge decisions you've made. Maybe you're thinking about what your chosen field is, what it is that you do. Or maybe you're thinking of your creative endeavor, because, that's my focus a lot here, are people who sometimes don't realize they're creatives. Because, that's, again, back to labels. It's a magic label that only are applied to some. But I think there's an awful lot more creative people out there than they think they are. And I think some of them are listening right now. You may be one of those and say, well, no, I just do accounting. I do this and this and this. But you have the creativity. You are a dual-brained individual, as I say. You're someone who likes logic, but you're someone who also has a creative flair in something. And just because your creativity comes in the form of the way that you pack the lunches for your kids, or the insanely complicated desserts that you just make and everyone thinks you bought them, or the way you label your Christmas presents. It doesn't matter. There's creativity there. So again, a little homework at the end. Why don't you think a bit about, first of all, whether you think you have a fate or destiny? And then, if you feel a bit of pushback from yourself and say, whoa, I don't like this fate destiny thing. Good. Then tell me, or tell yourself, what it is you're doing to actively make a difference, to change things. Are you grabbing the steering wheel or not? And if you have something in your life that you feel like you're attached to permanently, then consider whether that's your fate or your destiny. Because in the end, it's very empowering to feel that something is your destiny versus your fate. So thank you so much. I love hearing back from you, and take care. Hey there, thanks for listening. You know I always enjoy your feedback. The prequel to The Sword and the Sunflower duet, called Upside Down, is now available. The Sword and the Sunflower is available as Kindle, paperback, and audiobook, with the other two, Amira and Upside Down, being available as Kindle and paperback. Well, actually, all three books are now available in hardcover.